Good morning. My name is Monica Bell. I am an MAT candidate here at Randolph College. Currently, I'm a special education teacher at a suburban middle school in Central Virginia, where I've worked for the last 5 years, and I also conducted this research. My research is in the classroom with music. Do you think 15 minutes of music during school transition activities can save teachers 15 minutes of stress? Yes. My passion behind this question came about during my practicum experience. I would see the students transitioning very poorly with extremely bad behaviors, in some cases running through the hall like this picture you see. The teachers found it hard to settle students down once they were in class and seated. I could see transitioning without planned activities caused an increase in behavioral problems. So I asked these questions. Does the use of music during transition decrease off-task behaviors and increase student achievement? And also, is the student and teacher selected music more effective in researching these goals? My literature review was interesting. Researcher Stecco and Garrett, Stecco 2013 and Garrett 2015, stated for classroom management, when teachers give clear instructions about behavioral practices in the classroom, then students most likely will follow the rules. Also, when incorporating effective classroom management strategies, it will improve the learning environment. Garrett 2015 stated that some children transition very, very, very positively. They actually become role models in the classroom. And those are the students that you would see putting away material, slowly walking through the classroom. Now, why did I choose music? Well, researchers Bruckner, Blass, and Leutner all agreed that music increases attention, provides inspiration, motivation, facilitates multi-sensory learning experiences. So engaging music can create positive and lasting effects on the brain function. So I thought, well, if we give clear instructions and add a little music, we should have success. These are currently some of the tools that teachers are using in the classroom. Clocks, some teachers use a bell, they ring a bell. Some teachers use hand signals, whistles, and maybe a timer with a light on it. To give you some information, the participants in this action research project that I conducted was in a rural area in Central Virginia. The population of student families met guidelines for free and reduced lunch. Specifically, my classroom, which was 5 students, 6th grade, 1 girl, and 4 boys. The development of these students also in my classroom, Erickson stated that students exploring their independence and developing a sense of self during this time. So they're kind of finding themselves. If encouraged and given reinforcements, these students will have strong sense of self and they will start to feel independent. This is success for me. I'm thinking we could do this. Sorry. My methods. During the first 15 minutes of music during transition activities can really change the stress of a teacher. It did with me. During an 8-week period, I integrated music as a planned transition activity to track how planned music and transition activities would improve students' attention to work and change their behavior. An instrument that I use for a baseline data prior to integrating the music was a program called Read Theory. This program is designed to help students improve their independent reading level. Students read passages and respond to 5 questions related to the passage. As a class, the total class score 2.25. So mainly, collectively, the whole class was reading on a second grade level. I also tracked the following variables related to the students' behaviors. Did the students arrive in class and start working immediately? Are the students talking? Are the students disrupting class? Has the attention to work improved? And did students complete the warm-up within 15 minutes of class? My interventions were to give students choice and also to give me choice. So during the intervention, 4 weeks, students would listen to my choice of music, and 4 weeks, the students would listen to their own choice of music. These are some samples of the choices that were played during class. So I need to, I can do this. This is my choice. Oh, sorry. I don't know where my music. This is my choice. And then these are some samples of the songs that the students were listening to. So here are my results. So during the 8 weeks, students arrived to class starting at work immediately. So during the 8 weeks, teacher choice week, 100% of the students did not arrive to class and start working immediately. However, during student choice week, 90% of the students arrived and started working immediately. This figure shows that during teacher choice week, 81% of the students transitioned to the classroom, continued talking. However, during student choice week, only 27% of the students transitioned and talked. This figure shows the results of during the 8 weeks, 90% of the students were being disruptive during teacher choice week. However, during student choice week, there were no interruptions. 100% of the students came in and didn't interrupt at all. This figure shows the results that during teacher choice week, 100% of the students did not improve on their attention to work. However, during student choice week, 81% of the students' attention to work improved. This figure shows 100% of the students during teacher choice week did not complete their warm-up within the first 15 minutes, while 54% of the students completed their warm-up within the first 15 minutes. So my purpose in using the program Read Theory was to confirm that given student choice of music with a planned transition activity, their attention to work would improve and I would see a decrease in behaviors. This program showed an increase of 36% during the student choice weeks. And you can see by the chart where they had a decrease and where they had an increase. So what? I know that you're probably like, okay, what? Okay, so do I just add music? Well, yes, teachers should be adding music. Erickson said it the best. If students are exploring their independence and developing a sense of self, this is a way we can use something that they already know. I now totally agree with researchers Bruckner, Blass, and Leutner, who all stated that music increases attention. It provides this inspiration and their motivation. It actually changed their behavior. Implications. Today, teachers believe that students are not learning when they're listening to their music. So I disagree. I think that if we give them this choice and they find their music that they love of choice, that they will increase their learning. The instruction will be better. My limitations. I'm a resource teacher in a resource class, so I provide support to students and teachers. So the first 15 minutes of class were very hard because they were always interrupting my own instruction in the classroom. So conducting this research during the first 15 minutes, we had issues with students and teachers interrupting the class. Recommendations for future research. I would have preferred more time, maybe a half of the school year. And I also would have preferred to specifically look at students' read theory scores and have a larger sample of that. And also to track the behavior, like I track behaviors, but I would have liked to track their performance. Thank you. Any questions?
Monica, I have a question.
Yes,
Do you still use music in your class today?
I do. I do. And
And
I get a lot of flack at it, now because they're trying to keep devices out of the building. But I had them put a rule in so that if teachers are using it for instruction, then they should be allowed to bring in their devices.
and are you still seeing students increased attention to their work and increased academic performance in your classroom? Do you
I
believe?
do. I do. The last slide that I showed were the students that were in my research. I went and interviewed them at the high school, and they told me when teachers give them choice that they are still doing better in those classes where they can listen to music.
Thank you.
Monica, you said that you measured attention to work. How did you track and how did you keep, like, what were you looking for when you were measuring attention to work?
So attention to work, I used the Read Theory program. That was just so that I could have a monitor of that they were actually getting on task during their read theory, and they did. And when it was their turn, when it was their week to listen to music, they came in, no disruptions. They got right on to work, started read theory, and you could see that's when my scores as a class increased while they were listening to the music.
Interesting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Monica, just as a practical concern, for teachers who do want to do this and who want to give students choice in their music, because that seemed to be a significant part of why it worked. Did you do any prefacing with the students of what was acceptable, what was not? I assumed that if it was student choice, were they listening like on headphones?
Mm-hmm, they were. They were allowed to listen to school appropriate music. That was my only guideline for them. It just had to be school appropriate. And I shared with them the only reason why is if their headphones came out of the device, that would be exposing other people to the music that they're listening to. So I wanted to make sure it had to be school appropriate. And then I let them go for whatever they wanted to do.
Okay. Thank you, Monica.
Mm-hmm, thank you.
Monica, good job.
Yes, thank you.
We will continue on to the next presentation. Faculty members, remember as we move to the next presentation that this student is an undergraduate, so you should use the undergraduate rubric I sent you. Thank you.
Thanks.